over to you, Rashid. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I know that this is generally the graveyard shift, and you've got BDJ parties to get to and to grow the thinking economy. But I think it's also quite critical to reflect on a couple of things when we're talking about developing European economies. And I feel almost like a fish out of water sitting here today listening to numbers. Because I'm a planner by profession, and one thing that planners don't do is don't understand is numbers. But nonetheless, numbers are important, but also space is quite important if we're talking developing those countries. And I just want to focus on three particular areas. When we think of London, and we're thinking of being a tourist, more than likely you're going to see the architecture and you're going to eat fish and chips, and I think now their national dish is chicken tikka masala. When you think New York, what do you think? You're thinking bagels, you're thinking oysters, you're thinking coffee, you're thinking the Statue of Liberty. When you're thinking Paris as well, you're thinking avenues, you're thinking coffee, great coffee again, and baguettes. When we're talking about municipal identity here in KZN, what are we talking about? What is Ndwedwe famous for? What should a visitor who's visiting Ndwedwe not leave Ndwedwe without seeing or eating or experiencing? What is your identity? I recently, a couple of years ago, came across that Ikandla actually produces their own tea that's shipped to the UK. And my question was, so why aren't we drinking it? Why is it not available at our meeting? Why are we drinking Five Roses? Why are we drinking Lipton? Those are the kinds of questions that we need to kind of dwell into if we want to start talking about supporting local economies. And unfortunately, municipal identity is probably the key most important facet to growing your local economy. You need to know who you are. Imadlangeni is here, and they're quite fortunate because they see themselves as a town within a game park. Is that how the world sees Imadlangeni? I don't think so. We know it, and we understand it. But the international market, when somebody lands at King Shaka International, what's calling them to Imadlangeni, or to Newcastle, or to Umfolozi, or to Shlushluwe, or to Matuba? Is there anyone saying, please come to me, there's a pineapple festival happening in Shlushluwe? No. Because we haven't had that ability to articulate ourselves. We haven't had a chance to find out who it is that we are as a municipality, and that is what we're going to be focusing on now when we assist municipalities. And some municipalities will say, I'm actually not quite sure what my identity is, and I don't actually have anything good going for me. And then we have a chat about the approach that's called the Sustainable Livelihoods approach, which academics talk about. And what it does is, it talks about a couple of things. It says that every human being has certain asset classes. You have natural assets, so you would have the mountains and the rivers and soil conditions. That's part of your natural assets. You also have economic assets. You probably have some sort of cash. You have access to local government funding to some instances. You probably also have access to credit, which you could use as an asset. But you also have your own personal identity and your own personal assets. What are your skill sets? What is your education? What is your training? What is your capability? And then you also have social assets. Churches, your associations, your friends, your families. Those are all the networks that you've got to build on in order for you to grow and develop as an individual. But then if we look at that and we take the sustainable livelihoods model and we try and supersede it onto municipal fabric, what do we get? Within a municipal space also, you have access to certain assets. So the idea is that you need to have an understanding of what these assets are. And every municipal space in this province, in this country, has assets. We need to find what those assets are and be able to articulate ourselves and draw people onto that assets. One of the things that SALGA KZN is currently working on with municipalities is called the Municipal Investment Directory. We did have Trade and Investment earlier on, program director, that did speak about being able to showcase your municipal space. Now, the Municipal Investment Directory is not a fluffy 500-page document, and it would never be the case. It would lose intention. But the idea is that you say to the world, this is who I am. I am so-and-so municipality. I'm located on this corridor. These are my economic sectors. These are the economic sectors that I want to grow. These are my catalytic projects. These are my skill sets that I have readily available. According to my spatial development framework, and I'm glad that my colleague spoke about the spatial development framework earlier on, it's quite a critical feature if you want to grow your economy. Where exactly are investors going to go when they land at your door? Do you have land parcels that are readily available, that are serviced? Do you have any incentives for investors to come into your space? What are they? Let's list them. Also, you want to be able to say to an investor, what are the buildings that I have? And when we had a discussion with Trade and Investment a couple of weeks ago, they said to us, great, we're going to include this Municipal Investment Directory into our investment book for the province. So all municipalities, and we are going to be, we've piloted it now with Emadlangeni. They're going to be launching it next week, and it's going to be taken out to municipalities in the province. But the idea is that your space will now be elevated to say, this is actually what we have to offer. Program director, that's the second thing that I want to talk about. But the third thing that I want us to be conscious of is this thing of economic trends. What we do is we kind of follow what the world is doing in terms of economic trends. What do people eat? Where do they go? People talk about generation Y, X, Z. Now they're talking about generation Alpha. Who are these people? Are they not people that are in our municipal spaces? So if we don't understand their own makeup, how is it that we're going to provide an environment that's conducive for generation X, Y, Z, and Alpha to thrive? Because ideally, these are the generations that are going to become entrepreneurs, aren't they? So we are going to have to understand, who are they? What exactly do they need from the municipality, and reposition ourselves? It can never be business as usual. Okay, if you look at, much of our province talks about or highlights tourism as being a thriving economic sector, and yes, it is. And if you look at the trends are saying that people are traveling for adventure. So people are no longer traveling to India to see the Taj Mahal. Those days are gone. People are now traveling on spiritual retreats. They're going to do cycling races in France. They're coming to do, mountain biking and hot air ballooning. Are we as municipalities positioned? Have we positioned ourselves to offer this kind of adventure tourism that the world is traveling for? The other trend that we've seen is the Muslim traveler. Now, I'm not Muslim and I don't know too much about Muslim people, but generally, there's a certain requirement when Muslim people travel. A dietary requirement, prayer facilities. Have we prepared our bed and breakfasts in our municipalities to take advantage of this trend? Because Muslim travelers are traveling, they're going all over the world. Have we positioned ourselves to take advantage? Have we marketed ourselves to be saying openly on social media platforms, we now have prayer facilities, we have halal foods? Have we said that? We haven't. And then we say that we're not growing and there aren't opportunities available. This patriarchal system that we know of is being turned on its head. We're seeing an increasing number of women entering politics, entering workspaces that was always dominated by males. The question is, have we as municipalities then positioned ourselves to make spaces available in our municipalities to entertain the female entrepreneur? What are their requirements? Do we have facilities to take care of children while women are sharing working spaces? Also, the trend now is that nobody wants to rent an office because it's so expensive. Do we have a facility in our municipality where we can rent office space for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, a boardroom that we can rent and we can generate income? Probably not. We've seen over the months also, and you would have seen recently, we've had the Ganja Expo, massive multi-billion rand international trend. Everyone going and farming marijuana, medicinal marijuana. Have we thought about how we could probably benefit from this trend? Probably not. You know, and the list goes on and on and on. I mean, people travel the world for healing, and now there's medical traveling, where you would go to a particular facility, example Sri Lanka, which offers a special treatment in arthritis, for example. And people capitalize on that boom that comes into the country. And there's a range of these economic trends. So the idea here is that we need to position ourselves, Program Director, not to be seen economic development merely from a numbers perspective, but also to kind of dig deeper into the social fabric of our municipality, the spatial fabric of our municipality. Do we have something to offer? And what is it actually that we are offering travelers within our province, but also internationally? Those are just some thoughts on supporting local economies, Program Director. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I greet all mayors present, all CFOs, and everyone that's in the room. I usually speak early in the morning because with me it's always a case of stomach full, eyes closed. And to make it worse, I don't usually speak while sitting down. So please bear with me. With me it's not going to be the voice, but I might just... my colleagues have said a mouthful. You know, when you hear of such, you know, you just left with saying, maybe perhaps, thank you, we've had enough for today. But for the sake of being called to sit here, I will just maybe add on what they've said already. I've been lucky enough, not lucky enough, from where I'm sitting, I don't work within the public sector, but I do work closely with the public sector. And I have noticed quite a few things, mainly the disjoint, you know. I think everything is somewhat disjointed. You find that municipalities, on the other hand, are pushing towards local economic development, and you'll find that there are other structures and institutions, public institutions, that are also driving towards the same goal. But what's in there versus what these others are doing, it doesn't work hand in hand. For instance, we work with a lot of small businesses who get contracts from municipalities. And more often than not, you'll find that a guy gets a purchase order and is expected to deliver within 2 or 3 days. So now, this person is getting a purchase order by virtue of him being classified as a historically disadvantaged. So that simply says he will not have the funds, because most of them don't have the funds. So the first thing they do is to come to us for assistance. And at best what we do is we link them with the developmental finance institutions, whom in turn take 3 weeks minimum to give you a response, not the funds. So now you end up with a situation where this man has to lose this purchase order simply because he couldn't source the funds. So that's one thing that happens. It's all systems there are there, but I don't think there is that synergy in terms of how it's implemented. That's just one part. The second part is what has been shared now. I don't think we are doing well in terms of classifying our assets, be it the natural assets, the human capital. And if you look at what we are holding on to as government, is our heritage assets. Your Robben Island, Chief Albert Luthuli Museum, the Mandela Capture Site, and all those things. I don't foresee in 50 years someone leaving Europe just to come and see the Robben Island. Our heritage sites, very soon, I always say this, they're going to turn into a Garden of Eden without Adam and Eve. The next heritage are your Elon Musks. Those are the people who are the next heritage. Those are the people who the world is getting interested in. The people who've made changes. But the question is, as much as we are embracing the fourth industrial revolution and saying it's here to cause a further problem in terms of unemployment, are we then preparing, because it also brings in a lot of opportunities, are we prepared for those opportunities? What are we doing to tap into those opportunities? And lastly, I would say, as the people of South Africa, I'm not sure whether I would say, I'm not wanting to say the public sector, just as the citizens, we somehow tend to move towards where the world is moving against. Now we've launched a Black Industrialist Scheme. We've launched quite a number of things relating to industry. And if you were to develop an app and go seek funding for funds from the public sector, you will get shut down. It always happens. And the biggest thing is industrial stuff. That's second industrial revolution. We all know that. So working against the fourth industrial revolution and working towards the second industrial revolution. The next thing that's happening now, I see malls, shopping centers popping up everywhere. And the trend now is online shopping. And the malls are going to be things of the past. And we are investing so much money in malls. Maybe let me end it there. Thank you.
So much. I think one of the issues, more especially for small municipalities, is around the issue of investment into the issues that have to do with energy. There's very minimal investment into energy. It's easy to talk about it, but the issue is, whether do we have investment? Are we investing enough resources? Most of the resources, they go to popular projects, your roads, your electricity, and such. But even when it is very minimal in most municipalities. In fact, that is 1 or 2%. And indeed, what goes on, I consider it to be needed. I think I tell someone when I was still in the South, even now, in fact, when I was working in Mandela, we used to work very closely with him because of the road that they traversed, around the issues of economy. So I think we have to do investment in areas. And Lusaka has been organizing quite a number of workshops in the province to try and ensure that municipalities are able to invest. Because it's the only way to go. Because I think my brother there was saying, the bigger companies are good. If you don't invest in your SMEs, you'll find that the whole economy will collapse. So for me, I think we can use Igwa Tuguza as a study case and go and learn from them. And it costs nothing, to go to Igwa Tuguza and learn how are they doing it. Because they're very successful in various countries. As Kawan was saying, I don't think anyone is going to travel economy from one. They're represented in international conferences, on their model. And one of the things that impressed me, I think my mayor is there also in the same thing that in this financial year we're talking, these incentives. I think as Greater Oxford, for instance, will introduce a lot of incentives to be able to attract the investment into our issues. The issue of 50% for the first 4 to 5 years, so that because we're still building, we're still finding your feet, because most of the things it becomes your tense haven. If you don't have that, then businesses are. Because of the infrastructure, also that is not there, so they struggle to establish themselves in some of the most municipalities. So we have to do something to attract investors. Without a package of investment, investors won't come. So I think there's an old planner here, Mr. Mohammed, who's within the field. I think Lusaka has a very particular role to play. COGTA, ETIA, rural development, they've got a role to play in certain municipalities to ensure that we're able to play a good framework for one policy framework to ensure that there is a package that we have to attract the investors. But also municipalities must invest in ensuring that they are live LEDs.
So at this time, I will also give the PO to say a few words later on. I just want to take any questions from the floor, if there will be any, regarding this particular discussion.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. And I just want to say thank you very much for the presentations that we have received from our reps that are invited by SIGFARO. When you were talking to us, you did mention that instead of following the trends, we seems as if we are going back instead of following. Mine is to say we managed to go to overseas, but we are failing to twin with other municipalities who are doing very well, like iLembe. What do we need to do as municipalities so that we are able to get iLembe to come to Ugogo to say, this is what we are doing, this is how we are doing it. And two, the weakness that we are having is that we don't want to document our experiences so that our experiences can be able to be used by other municipalities or other provinces. So also we need also to begin to look at iLembe sharing our experiences so that we can be able to learn from good experience that of work that they are doing. Again, we are working in silos. For me, I just want to say why trade and investment not visible to our municipalities and share with us what is it that they are doing and what can we benefit out of it. Why trade and investment not working with development agencies? We are mandated to make sure that as district we have these development agencies, but we don't see these development agencies doing very good in our municipalities. So we are inviting them also to make sure that they come up with a concept where the LEDs, the development agencies work together in order to get better results at the end. That's my contribution. Again, I want also to thank Ubaba Uzi Kalo with a contribution. As a municipality, I think we need to go back and look at our vision and look at our objectives, because right now really we are going down the drain as if there are no sectors like SIGFARO who are giving us information. It's like we are blank, and the outcome of Auditor General, I was feeling like crying when Auditor General was announcing the way we are doing in local municipalities. So I'm just requesting SIGFARO, SALGA, all the structures that are there to begin to work with us, and also our officials to make sure that they are doing their work, because ours as politicians is to play an oversight role. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Let's quickly talk for those comments. And let's give the PO of the Salva Kuala just to say a few words. His right hand side.
No, thank you very much. Let me appreciate all the presentations.
presentations and every one of you that is sitting here. In terms of what has been presented, as I was listening to the colleagues, a part of me is worried that if we don't translate some of the things we already know into satisfying the political imperative for local economic growth, it would be of no use to have even known what we know. So we have to find new branches of growth. Let me maybe, one gets a sense of apprehension a little bit on this topic because it's the reason why we actually exist. The only reason someone said basic services will be water and electricity was that because those things are the things you need for you to grow your economy. You might as well not even have those things if you need something else to grow the economy. Unless we are able to fundamentally review how municipalities interact with the economy. Okay, now I know when I said fundamentally review how we interact with the economy, many people here was kulmangana. But let's think about this. The growth of Richards Bay is because there is the deepest port there. That's its inherent strategic, inherent value. So, would Richards Bay be where it was if that port wasn't there? The answer is no. The reason why is because of the platinum belts and every other thing, the extraction of mineral resources. But Richards Bay, or let me put it this way, Mhlathuze as a municipality has got very little say in how that port is run. So unless we are able to reimagine municipalities in relation to their strengths and weaknesses, as what Mashina was talking about when she was saying, what is our identity? So municipalities have got to, in my view, over the long term of where South Africa is going. If we continue being a business for water and electricity, we will die. Sooner or later, we will die. We have got to start imagining what municipalities can be in addition to that. And that means starting to say, we must start now to not have piped water because people have settled there, but to say, no, you know what? We're going to start offering internet services, internet-based businesses. We're going to start being an accommodator of the fourth industrial revolution and other aspects. So, thinking that municipalities are businesses that sell water and electricity is just trying to survive. But if we need to thrive, we must start looking at things and looking at businesses of tomorrow and saying, how can we position ourselves? I know it's difficult what I'm saying because there are people right now who want water and electricity. They won't pay for it. You will give it to them and you will drown. That's the problem. So, if we are able, and if we are able to strike a political solution, we can solve some of these things. Where we are sitting now is that we have no political base for growth. By political base, I mean someone demanding water and electricity and not being able to pay for it must, for political reasons, be patient, must, for political reasons, be able to strike a balance to say, okay, I want a job, not a house. So unless we are able to say to the citizens of South Africa, you will forsake this in order to get this, we will keep electrifying houses that will simply not get any return out of it. You much rather say, I will electrify a mall, you will get a job. Now, if you can't get that agreement to come across and be a widespread South African ethos, we lack political leverage for some of the terms that we need to do. Thank you.
Baba Ungomese to to say his closing remarks.
Siyabonga Mapholoba. Sengivala nje nami, in closing, I would like to remind all municipalities in this room that the public sector is now forced to implement triple BEE. It's no longer a matter of the private sector, even the public sector, from the departments to SOCs to municipalities. Problem with BEE is that there is no fine if you do not implement. But with us sitting in this room, I would say the only reason BEE was ever formed is for transformation purposes. So I don't really think we need someone in our bench to say, why haven't you done this? I think it's something that you should look forward to doing. It's only for the best. As Mr. Kwana is saying, the people who do not afford to pay for the services are the people who are demanding the services, because the others that are affording to pay, those people are moving out of the grid already. So really, I think the more we implement these things, it's the less we will have of people in our indigent registers. And lastly, I would urge us again to zoom into the difference between our supply chain and the value chains. Because what's happening most of the time is that when we are saying we're implementing, for instance, the triple PFA with the 30% subcontracting, those people are at the end, they are not in the value chain. Because if you are saying you're putting infrastructure for water, bulk of those funds are going for strategic material, your pipes, your pumps, and all those things. And at best, the people in our local communities, they're just supplying labor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Program Director. In closing, I just want to quickly reflect on one of the trends, economic trends that we're seeing internationally, and it's about Afrofuturism, which basically is saying that Africa, this is your time to shine. We've seen movies like Black Panther, for example, take the international cinema stage. And the world is looking at Africa for various things, for culture, for cuisine, for architecture, for design. And if we want to grow local economies, then we must capitalize on this trend. I mean, the hashtag that says support Black business has been trending, has been gaining momentum, and I think it's our time to shine. And in keeping them in the theme for VDJ, I think we must leave on that positive note and contribute to the 200 million spent on integration. Thank you, Jim.
Mine will be around the issue of innovation within the LD. What we are seeing in the country, in most cases, we are not innovating. If a marathon has been done successful by marathon, every local municipality would like to have a marathon. We are failing to diversify the offerings, and we are saturating the market. It's what will happening with our SMEs. We are SMEs, but wanted to have a tech shop, wanted to have a telephone, wanted to have a tavern, and all those things are saturated. So I'm just saying, wherever we are, we should try to differentiate ourselves with different events. We need to support what is different, what is improved. One of the limitations. The second issue for me that is critical is a province. By the way, my home district from where in the Pofra. I'm saying also we have failed to capitalize to the historical schools. You have your Hilton College, Michael House, Travertine College within the district of Bamman. What are you doing to follow up the old boys who are based in other areas to promote that district? Because they're enjoying their lives. So we are failing to do that. In Walduza currently, we are working on the initiative, focusing on all those people for single homes and doors. We've got almost 6 ministers, current ministers are saying their own properties within our areas. We've got a number of CEOs owning properties in Zimbabwe, but we are not capitalizing on that. So we are beginning to interact with them now to say, we want to use them, that they own properties within our area. How do they make them capable to live in comfort when on the other side of the M2 there's no development? So we are beginning to interact with few. By the way, the mayor of Joburg is also a resident in our district, in our area, and we are providing a better services than the 10 minutes to municipality. So we are saying we want to capitalize on those assets of human. I'm just saying we should be able as a province to order. The last one is twinning. We are not twinning with municipalities across. We are not sharing information. I do believe that we should focus on. To our political principles, I think one of the key issues that I will challenge them, we should define the home of entity in this province. There is confusion. Most colleagues, they have worked with Kota because Kota did have money. It was easy to get a Kota money, to get what they never gave you content. So we should define which department amongst the two departments, ETA and Kota, will be home of entity in this province. Because it's also adding confusion and duplication of resources and in terms of the approach.
No, I think I will start where Ufamane ended. I think really the problem is the confusion. And this confusion is impacting on us as local municipalities. I don't know now, since the MEC has come across, what will happen. I don't know what happened when the MEC has crossed the floor to ATM. I don't know what will happen, but really it was confusing when we have a Department of Economic Development that within COC they will have an LED, I mean, an LED at the DTG level. You see, you can see how high it is at the DTG level. And on the other side, we have rural development. On the other side, we have got economic development, and that is, I think Mom Mayor is raising a critical point, Mom Mayor Mapumulo, because key to that is then to say what do we learn. If we do not learn from one another, as I was saying, what is making headway. In fact, some of their programs are unstoppable. And quite soon, Guza will be making a very strong claim in terms of the status. It's making a very strong, in the next 10 years, Guza, I'm definitely sure will be making a claim as a metro in the next 10 to 15 years. Do a very strong claim in the manner in which they are driving their vision of economic development. But I think even for us as a municipality, it is not too late for us to learn. It is not too late at all. As Mama Pumolo was saying, we have been querying what do we give to these agencies? What investment are we making to these agencies? Yes, Cabinet took a resolution, has established them in all the districts, but I don't think there's enough investment in them to make them function, drive. As I was saying in another meeting, people were offended when they said, I can count 11 and count the one who, but very few, I can count agencies that are working. Other than that, you'll have 1 or 2 officials there, and then no programs at all. But it's not too late, still we can still pick ourselves up as long as Omer 2 are there to lead us, to make a lot of investments around this, but also deal with the policy framework, because industry governance is the policy framework. You come here, you want us to force to do something, we say no, we can't do it. Our hands are tied. The policy framework says, Uloka is South Africa. Uloka is not Kokstad. So if it's like me now, I must exclude, I must exclude, then I'm breaking the law, because Uloka is South Africa, in terms of the definition by law. So I can't break the law. You see, so all such issues, they need a lot of clarification. But SO is also, I believe, that what a great role to play within. SO is at the moment. I don't think they've done a lot to assist municipalities where they exist. As you are saying, if you take just Bay, for instance, municipalities are going to say what is happening, except to regulate. some of the things there, but has a very good say. But I think still, if we are able to go and peer learning, we can achieve more.
Thank you very much. Take your seats. I'll hand over your tokens just before we all leave. Thank you very, very much to my panel members for your time of preparation and also